What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we take a venture into the great unknown. Well, for me anyway. Most of you probably have already heard of these. They are the Rotring Isographs. I have 3 of them. I have the 0.2, 0.3, and 0.5 isographs. I don't know what to call them. But these are the 3 that I have. They came in a handy dandy set. Thank you to Amazon, because this set of 3 costs the same as a single pen. These suckers are not cheap. But because I'm coming from a fountain pen world, I understand that sometimes something that looks like it shouldn't cost very much does. I understand that there are things that go behind the mechanics and whatnot that actually make it more expensive than your typical like fine liner thing would be. So I understand that. Usually they're around like $30 each, hit or miss, you know, depending on sales and the provider selling them. But yeah, so I was able to get them all pretty cheap. Again, thanks to Amazon. So why did I get these? I'm a fountain pen person. Why did I get these? Well, during the quarantine, I decided that I was going to teach myself how to draw. And I wanted specifically to be able to draw characters, like comic book character type things. I will not really be showing you those because my skills are still this big. Maybe one day I will be brave enough to do it, but today is not that day. So I picked these up because these are really, really good. Once you've done your pencil sketch and you're happy with the way it looks, you can use these to then go over it and draw your final look. Then you can erase the pencil that you did, and these will not smudge, they will not disappear, they will just remain perfectly the way that they were before you erased the pencil underneath. And they also mean that you can do anything over top. So if you are coloring over top of it with like alcohol markers, for example, so like the, ahoo-hoos, such a silly word, or the Copic markers, then it won't, again, smudge or anything like that. They'll stay perfectly in place. Also, you can get an incredibly fine line, I think down to a 0.1, which for fountain pen people, these are completely different point systems than we're used to. So it does take a little bit getting used to, but 0.1 is like flippin' tiny. So if you're like a stippler, then that would be perfect. So what do I think about them? I like them actually quite a bit. So I'm gonna put 2 of them down and just handle one. The body is very plasticky feeling. It feels kind of cheap, almost like a platinum preppy, if you have used one of those before. It is a screw top, which I know confuses some people, but for us fountain pen people, we are used to it. The cap is very, very small, but you don't really post it like you would a fountain pen. I mean, you could, but it doesn't really sit on there very well. But it is long enough in your hand, and you hold it pretty much dead set straight up anyways, so it doesn't really matter how long it is, because you don't write with it like you do a typical fountain pen. As you can see, the nib is teeny tiny. My cat wants to hang out. So if you hear her, I apologize. Teeny tiny nib. It is all metal. It's pretty solid, but if you write like this, you could snap it. So you do have to be careful. There's no like delineated grip section like there is with the fountain pen. So your hand, or at least mine, does rest over the part where it says like 0.50 or 0.20, whatever one you have, the size part. But again, you're not really putting any pressure on it, and it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. And the rest of the pen basically is a straight barrel. It does taper a little bit, but to go back to it again, you hold it straight up, so it doesn't matter. And you have the red ring at the end, which is apparently Rotring's brand idea thing. Much like a fountain pen, you unscrew the body from the nib section to reveal a cartridge, which you fill with ink. You do not fill it with fountain pen ink. Rotring has their own ink for it. So the set that I got came with a 23 milliliter bottle of black ink. You can get like a Mondo thing of it, but I did not bother because I'm new to the world and didn't see the point. You can get other colors. I believe there is a white, a red, a green, and a blue, I think. But I stuck with the black because if you're outlining things, that's really all I want. And the only black comes in the big one, but I think this is definitely the only color that probably 98% of the people who use Rotrings use. This is a very thick drawing ink, so you cannot use this with fountain pens. I don't believe it's water-based. I'm not sure what it is made up of. I'm sure only the people at Rotring in Germany know. But it does come with that. And to fill it, well, I have a video showing you how to do that. So it's kind of like if you have a cartridge converter for a fountain pen and you just basically like, pour it in. It's not too complicated. So that's like kind of the general look of the pen. But how does it actually write? So let's take a look. All right, so I'm gonna be trying out all three of these today, the 0.2, 0.5, and 0.3. And they get, well, progressively larger each time. So you just unsnap it there, and as you can see, like, whew, that's teeny tiny tipping. So this is a square. It's very hard to do straight lines when I'm around a tripod. And you can get incredibly fine line details with this. These look like garbage, but if you take your time and you practice, you can get it really well. And you can write so small. Again, around a tripod, not so much, but you can write very small. Obviously, the smaller nib size you have, the more scratchy it will feel, but you have to put very minimum pressure, which again, as fountain pen people, we are aware of this, but it is even more so with these. You barely have to touch it to the paper, because the way that it works is when you actually touch the nib to the page, it actually pushes up this little ball on the end here. It pushes it up, which allows the ink to come down. When you remove it and there's no pressure on that tip, then that way ink doesn't keep coming out. So when you put it on the actual paper, you only need to like basically just make contact, no pressure whatsoever. In fact, you actually need more pressure using a fountain pen than you do for these. It is incredible, these things. These pens blow my mind. And you can tell there's a big jump between the 0.2, 0.3, and 0.5. So you can kind of think of it Like I can't even write as small. All my letters are coming together. Yeah, I only got to Isograph before I ran out of room. You can kind of think of it as like an extra fine, broad, you know, there'd be a medium in here somewhere, probably at a 0.4. As you saw there, it didn't write. If you hold it like you would a pencil, like at a 45-degree angle, it doesn't really write well. This one does because it's so big. You want to hold it kind of straight up. And the 0.5 just lays down like a dream. It's beautiful. Lets out tons and tons of ink. I basically just threw that. The 0.3 is definitely juicier compared to the 0.2. Not super duper scratchy, but you can hear it. But still feels fairly pleasant. The 0.2 definitely gives you some resistance. This is not something that you would use to color in with, but would be fantastic for lots of cross hatching and like really fine like stipple work kind of thing. I'm not very good at it, but that's essentially what it would be for. So lots of options. I mean, there's, oh my gosh, there's so many different sizes. There's a 0.1, there's a 0.25, there's a 0.35. There's all kinds of different sizes. These are just the ones that I got. I really, really like them. You do have to maintain them just like you would a fountain pen, where, you know, when you go through a thing of ink, basically you're just going to want to flush it all out. So again, you're used to fountain pens if you're on this channel probably, but you would just kind of give the converter here or the cartridge a quick rinse. If you've got like a bulb syringe, you know, one of those booger suckers, just pop that in, give it a good flush out, and then, you know, refill it once it's dry and you're good to go. And these things, as long as you don't snap the end by putting too much pressure on it, they should last you a lifetime. So yeah, these are the Rotring Isographs. Guys, I recommend them. If you're looking, you know, for something to do any kind of artwork with, fine detail work, you know, if you want something that writes really, really tiny, you definitely have that option. So I recommend them for sure. I'm going to continue to play around with them, and we'll probably revisit maybe in, you know, half a year time or something like that. But yeah, I mean, you can kind of see here, that's one of the dudes that I drew. I don't know if you can totally see that, but I'm not very good at it, but I'll get there. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Hit that like button if you liked it. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content every Monday and Friday. Occasional Q&A on Tuesdays or Thursdays. Guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I miss you. I love you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.